At first glance, Tajikistan seems very similar to its Central Asian neighbors. There are bustling markets and clean, wide streets in the capital of Dushanbe. The country was part of the Soviet Union for 70 years, and under Soviet leadership, cotton was a mandatory crop for most of Tajikistan's farmers, and employed more than 3/4 of the country's rural population. Women have traditionally made up most of the workforce in cotton production. By the early 1990s, Tajikistan produced almost 800,000 tons of raw cotton a year, with the highest yields in Central Asia. But in 1991, the Soviet Union collapsed. Farmers throughout the former USSR were left without the money, material, and technical resources from the central government. Unlike the rest of Central Asia, Tajikistan went through a devastating civil war that destroyed much of the country's irrigation and transportation networks. Currently, it is the poorest country in Central Asia, with a GDP per capita of less than $400. That's less than $2 a day, putting Tajikistan on par with countries like the Republic of Congo and Chad. Muhammad Azizov is a cotton farmer from the Zarafshan village in northern Tajikistan.
We are a family of 6. 4 of them are next to me, my son, my wife Buchekra, and my daughters Madina and Nichora. We make our living by farming. I have my own piece of land where I grow potatoes, tomatoes, onions, and other vegetables. All of us, me, my father, and my grandfather, since the beginning of time, we have been farmers. This is how we have made our living. In addition, I have 5 cows, and this helps to feed my family.
Muhammad is one of thousands of cotton farmers in the Sugd region of northern Tajikistan that IFC and the Swiss State Secretariat for Economic Affairs, or SECO, have helped through a unique project that provides financing and support to farmers. This is the story of the lessons and experiences of SugdAgroServ. In 2001, IFC began to look for ways to help cotton farmers tackle the key issue that faced them, access to finance. Banks were unwilling to lend in the cotton sector, so farmers had to turn to private individuals, the so-called investors. Richard Rutherford was in charge of identifying IFC's opportunities in Central Asia at the time.
The situation at the time for the farmers in Tajikistan was nearly impossible. They were crippled by massive debts, which were the overhang of previous years. They were really under the thumb of so-called investors who had moved in and had taken the role previously of the state in providing inputs and financing for the farmers to grow their crops. And then they were the same people who were buying the output.
By the late 1990s, Tajikistan's cotton farmers were almost $400 million in debt to banks and investors. It was an unsustainable financing system. Zumayev Siddiqbai owns a small cotton farm in northern Tajikistan that employs 2 men and 4 women.
Investors were not giving us money, but giving us fertilizers, chemicals, and things we need in the field. But there were no prices on paper. Diesel has no specified price. At contract time, it is, for example, 10 cents. By the time we sell our cotton, diesel is charged at 35 cents. They give it to us with a high price.
IFC partnered with SECO to create something unique in Tajikistan, a private company that would be completely owned by the farmers, who would buy shares in the company and benefit from its success.
Generally speaking, IFC always tries to work with local financial partners. The trouble was that at the time, things have changed very much now, but at the time, the banks were either bankrupt or did not have the right skills or did not have the right interest. And indeed, some of them were even part of the problem.
Abdul Rahmani Kodiri was the governor of the Zafarabad region in northern Tajikistan in 2001.
Cotton production is the main industry for much of Tajikistan. Over the past decade, the country's agri-sector underwent significant changes, but this also had created new problems. I have seen SECO were the first and only institutions that came to the assistance of our farmers.
On April 4th, 2002, IFC and SECO created a new company called SugdAgroServ, SAS. It was based in Kujan, a cotton-producing area in the Sugd region. Maksud Odinayev was the former National Program Officer for Economic Affairs of the Swiss Cooperation in Tajikistan.
SugdAgroServ is one of the first projects supported by SECO in Tajikistan, and is considered one of the important projects targeted on alleviation of the poverty in the rural areas in Tajikistan.
SECO and IFC provided the startup capital to create SAS. 365 farmers also put in $2,000 of their own money into the company to ensure local support and sustainability of the project. SAS would be a retail and marketing cooperative wholly owned by its farmer shareholders to help them buy inputs in bulk and sell the outputs. As the need grew, SAS also began to provide lending services. A technical assistance project was also financed by SECO to support the growth of SAS. Hans Woldring, a cotton farming specialist, was hired as the project manager. Abdusator Kaidarov was identified as a local candidate to take over as general manager.
Our company is the only company in which owners are the farmers, members of Daycon Farms, and at the same time they are the recipients of these services themselves.
SAS provided financing to the farmers and helped them increase cotton production. The Technical Assistance Project conducted extensive demonstration fields and introduced farmers to new techniques in cotton farming. From 2002 to 2004, SAS tripled its shareholder base from 365 farmers to more than 1,000. The new farmer shareholders put in over $19,000 into the company. IFC and SECO both increased their contribution to SAS by $500,000 each, and SECO funded an additional $1.2 million for technical assistance. The company seemed to be succeeding. In 2004, world cotton prices crashed. That year, prices for Tajik cotton farmers fell by 40%. Bad weather also contributed to lower cotton yields, which exposed some of the financial and structural weaknesses in the operations of SAS. SAS had approved more than $1 million in loans in 2004. In 2005, 40% of the portfolio was in default. For many of the farmer shareholders, this was the first time they had experience running a real business. IFC and SECO began to realize that since SAS was set up as a cooperative, farmers hadn't been properly trained in running a financial company. They didn't know when a loan was too risky to make or how to take minutes at a credit meeting.
In 2004, the price for ginned cotton went down dramatically by 45%. This was a big blow to our financial figures, and also the position of many Daycon farms got worse dramatically. With the drop in cotton prices, we started to notice that farmers wouldn't be able to repay their loans.
IFC and SECO realized that too much emphasis had been placed on agricultural training and not enough on financial training. With SAS close to financial collapse, Stephen Wright, who has worked on rural finance projects in Ukraine since 1994, was brought on board as project manager in November 2005. Under Steve's guidance, SAS took steps to reorganize the lending committee. They added more independent members so that board members and loan committee members could not approve loans to themselves.
We've changed the policy of lending. Specifically, for sums over $2,000, we need notarized collateral, which will also be registered at the Regional Ministry of Justice.
The cotton crash taught the project another valuable lesson. SAS needed to diversify its activities away from cotton.
The SAS portfolio was almost 95% for cotton lending. And so we also saw that we needed to diversify the portfolio to balance some of the risk. And it went in line with how the farmers are working anyway. Approximately 60% of their field is used for cotton and the other 40% for alternative crops. And so we spent some time trying to match the SAS portfolio to how the farmers are actually working.
SAS began to increase its lending portfolio to include more profitable crops such as potatoes and carrots.
Ultimately, we've been trying to change the mindset of the local community here, that they take responsibility for this company. It's their company, it's a Tajik company, it's run by Tajiks, therefore making it sustainable.
With the new management and policies in place, the prospects for SAS are looking more positive. On December 2, 2006, Abdusator was elected to become full general manager of SugdAgroServ. Having a local general manager on board was one of the goals of the original project design, which will help ensure the sustainability of SAS after the IFC and SECO project closes in 2008. Shareholders voted at the 2008 annual meeting, which elected a new board of directors, including its first woman board member. Komuk is very appreciative of the support that SAS has given his family.
We like the fact that at the end of each year, there is a joint meeting of shareholders where dividends are paid. Although the sum is not great, it still helps each and every shareholder.
He has taken out a new loan from the company this year to install irrigation pipes for his fields. IFC has now taken these experiences from northern Tajikistan to the south. IFC and the Canadian International Development Agency, or CIDA, have partnered with Tajik Sodarat Bank, the third largest commercial bank in Tajikistan. The project will help introduce cotton lending products for Deccan farmers in the south. Stephen Wright is also heading up the new project, bringing the direct experience in running SAS to the new region. Abdurrahmani Kodiri is now the deputy governor of the Katlan region, where this new project is based.
In our region and in other regions across the country, SAS paved the road to effective collaboration between farmers and financial institutions, and have helped farmers to learn how to be responsible with respect to their debts and at the same time profitable.
Since we began working with SAS, our lives and the lives of many of our farmers in the region have improved a great deal. We are happy to work with this company.
Sugd.